The winter campaign, week 4. We are racing along. Welcome everybody. Welcome Will.
Thank you, Jack.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm very well.
I never ask you that. I should more often.
Particularly well.
Good. We have covered lots of topics so far. If you've missed any, please do go back and watch them. This week we're going to cover something we briefly touched on last week, Will, when talking to somebody who's homeless about why it's important to register as being homeless.
Yes.
We spoke about it last week and we said it's something to chat about if you're engaging with somebody on the street. So why, Will, is it important for somebody to be registered as homeless? I should say, before you answer...
Yeah.
We are going to talk about this in a certain way, and this can be quite a political thing when you get into the details, and we want to be apolitical here. We just want to help people who are in need. So there might be things that, if you're in the know, there might be things that we're talking about and you think, oh, you didn't touch on that. We're going to talk about it in a way that keeps us out of any difficult territory, so please do bear with us while we talk about it.
Yeah.
Saying all that, Will, build you up.
Okay.
Try and answer the question.
Well, there are two things that will take out of value from this vlog. The first one is, if you're homeless, what do you do? The second one, if you know somebody's homeless, then you are in a position to tell them and give them advice. So if I know I'm going to be homeless within 52 days, because that's the current time period where you can still offer yourself up as homeless under the Homeless Reduction Act of 2018. If you know you're going to be made homeless, you can go down and register at Stafford Borough Council Housing Options. They've got a great team down there. They're down by the riverside, just past Revolution on the bridge. And you need to go and have a conversation and explain that for whatever reasons, you are going to be made homeless.
When you go in for the interview, there's two outcomes, isn't there? There's intentionally homeless and homeless by crisis, unintentionally homeless. We won't go into what the difference is yet. We might do in another video, we might not. Again, that's one of those areas. So what is the advantages and disadvantages of that, if there are any disadvantages?
The advantage is that you will be assessed by the Housing Options team. Now, sometimes if you go in the morning, and their offices are open Monday to Thursday, 8:30 till 6, and then on Fridays, 8:30 till 4:30.
It's almost like you're reading that off a card. Off camera, Will.
Then once you've met them, they may say to you, come back, because the actual process takes about half an hour. But they might do it there and then, depends on how busy you are. They're going to go through the process to see whether there is a statutory obligation to house you. Let's say, for the sake of argument, there is. Then you'll be offered various different options. Now, the options vary based on availability within Stafford and other factors. What you've got to bear in mind is that the Borough Council are doing their level best to sort out accommodation, so you must work with them, and that's really, really important, and sometimes it can be quite difficult options. Once you're registered and you've started to follow the process, then if you're taken on as having a statutory obligation to be housed, you will be offered ways of housing, which might be through a local B&B, a regional B&B, it might be support into Eagle House or other supported living, and it's a process that can be followed. It does take time, but the folk there do their level best to accommodate your needs.
Well, and as we all know, the stats are clear. There has been a rise in homelessness, so they are dealing with a bigger and bigger load, and they're dealing with a lot of people down there.
The other thing as well is that although the office is open, as I've indicated, during the Monday to Thursday and then Friday, there is also an out of hours number which we use, and that number will probably come up on the bottom of the screen.
Refer to the card again.
01785 619 170. So that's where you have been made homeless by whatever crisis it might be, and it's out of hours. But that's when you need to call that number. We can facilitate that at House of Bread, but you can call that number at any time, and you'll speak to somebody who then will be able to help you through the process. So the other thing I want to talk about was the access to health clinics, because whether you're homeless, about to be made homeless, or just need medical advice, so maybe you're sofa surfing and you should have registered at Stafford Borough Council as being homeless, there is an outreach drop-in which is available on Wednesdays between 10 and 12, and that's run by Suzanne Rigby, who is the district nurse and deals with outreach. And we've got her mobile contact number. She's basically at Wolverhampton Road Surgery, which is connected to Drakeford Court, and that's in Stafford, as everybody will know. And it's important to people to know holistically that the approach that you've got in terms of homelessness, it's a mental health issue, it's a physical issue. So all this information is really supportive to somebody who's in that homeless situation or about to be homeless.
We can't stress enough how being in the system, in the loop of information and having your name written somewhere is so important. There are a lot of things. It's a very difficult system to navigate. It's not always, like Will said, it's not always easy. It's not always what you hoped for. It's not always what you wish for, but it is important to have your name on something. So if you're talking to somebody who has had difficulty with the system and, like we mentioned last week, might not be too happy to go and register or whatnot, you can talk to that person and tell them after this video, you are more informed about the processes, that it is a positive thing. It might not change your life there and then, but down the line it is important to be known to the services.
So encourage somebody in that situation, go along with them to the housing options department. They are more than happy for somebody else to explain the story, articulate the story, because if you're in that situation of either pressingly being homeless or homeless, then a lot of people are struggling because they're not eating, they're not sleeping, they're not making informed decisions, and so their articulation of their story is not straightforward. And we do a lot of that, a lot of advocacy.
And if you know somebody and you don't feel confident enough to go down with them, by all means ring us, come to the cafe, we will go down with anybody.
Just lastly, we had somebody phone in today, actually last week, who have used the app for Street Link. So that's where somebody had seen somebody who they thought was homeless, and they phoned. They used the app on their phone, which you can do on any smartphone, and it asks you where the person was that you saw, some description. It doesn't even ask you for your name, but it identifies it, and that's picked up by Homeless Link, and that's fed back to the Borough Council and various outreach teams. So it's really important to do that. But again,
and the lady did that and then said, I thought I'd phone you as well, just in case you know them and could give us any more information.
We work closely with all the departments we've talked about, and we can do things in a way that supports them in aspects of the work that they can't do, and vice versa. So it's a really good joined up way. But I cannot express really enough, you need to register as either going to be homeless or homeless, because the longer you leave it, the more difficult it will be.
Yes, and like we said, it can be a very difficult place to navigate, but we are just here to help people survive while they're going through those processes. That's all we're here for in those particular examples. Thank you very much, Will. Well done for navigating that territory there. Thank you very much for bearing with us as we went through that process. If, like I said at the beginning, you haven't seen everything we've spoken about, or you thought I don't need to, and now this has pricked your your desire for more information, do go back and watch our previous videos. If you want to know all the stuff that's ongoing at House of Bread, all the special activities and events, and if you donated something and might hear your name, check out Hob News. That goes up on Sundays at 4. But until then, we will leave you and let you get on with the rest of your Wednesday evening or whenever you're watching this. Goodbye.
Goodbye.